friends. It's Laurel Boylan here with our bi-weekly Legacy Leaders Live interview show. And as you may know by now, it's where we come together and bring you some amazing guests to hear their stories of inspiration, their stories of impact, purpose, prosperity. Today's guest is somebody I'm very, very excited to bring to you. His name is Mark Atha. He is currently living in Scottsdale, Arizona, though he is Canadian, true Canadian, plays hockey on a regular basis. He got his start in his early 20s in the real estate industry in Canada, and then decided to branch out on an entrepreneurial mission that he heard might fill in the gaps when real estate wasn't so good. However, what he found was his quote side hustle fill in the gap job quickly became the main stage, and he ended up leaving real estate, and he has now been doing his current job. It's not a job, his current mission for over 30 years. And so I am going to introduce you to a very dear friend of mine, a mentor, a business leader I learn from almost every day, Mark Atha.
Hi, Laurel. Glad I could be with you today. Actually, let me put my glasses on so I can see your smiling face.
Hey, you know what I look like.
So glad to be here with you.
I'm glad. I'm so glad to have you here. You are one of the people I like to model myself after. And I don't know if I've ever told you that, but I love your lifestyle, and I love your why. And I don't want you to share that yet. We're going to get there. But that is such a huge part of who you are. So let's start by, as you know, this show's all about living your legacy, rather than just working really hard to leave a legacy for those behind. Mm-hmm. What does living your legacy mean for you and your wife, Myrna?
Oh, wow. That is a cool question. Well, yeah, I mean, we decided a long time ago that we wanted to live the legacy, not leave the legacy. And, legacy is a word that you hear a lot of people speak about when they think of somebody that's gone, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, they left a legacy. Well, what is that exactly? And someone told me a long time ago that people might remember for a short period of time things that you did when you're gone, but they'll for sure remember forever the way you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And so I think that how you have an impact on others while you're alive and how you make them feel daily with what you can do to help improve their lives is living a legacy. I don't want to bequeath something to somebody after I'm gone. I want to share it with them while I'm alive.
I love that. And tell us a little bit take us into the lifestyle of Mark Atha over, let's just say, a 12-month period. What types of things light you up? What do you do? How do you spend your time?
Well, Myrna and I love our lifestyle here in Scottsdale. We have lived here now for 21 years. Part of getting started on our entrepreneurial journey back home in Canada is I realized one day that real estate, although it could be a lucrative income at times when the market's hot and you have the right things going on, it isn't always predictable because there's things beyond your control. And one thing for sure is you're pretty much tied to that business. I mean, maybe you could take a week off here and there and go to Hawaii, but you don't really have something that can continue to create wealth for you if you're not continuing to invest time every single day into it, right? Every time you sell a home, you're unemployed till the next time you sell a home. So as much as I enjoyed that career early on in my 20s, I started looking for something that would create the kind of wealth that, even if you're not putting time into something, you continue to earn income, and most people don't have any type of a residual type income that they earn. Most people just trade time for money. Or if you're fortunate enough to have been left a lot of money, maybe you can invest it and live off the interest. But for the average person out there, most people just go through life trading time for money. And so that was kind of part of our entrepreneurial quest, I guess, in the beginning, is lifestyle and financial security. And so 12 months, to getting back to your question, I know that was a long answer to a short question, but what over the last 12 months, I mean, living here in Scottsdale, we just feel like every day we get to schedule what we do in our business and help other people around all the most important things in our life, what we love to do for recreation, when we like to travel, hobbies that we have. We recently took up pickleball, so now we have to make time for the chiropractor a little more often too. So yeah, no, I think it's just being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And the old saying that if you find something you love to do, you'll never work another day in your life. That's the way we feel with our business and what we do to help other people, is because we just love what we do. And it feels like every single day we're making a positive difference in people's lives, which I think most people probably don't feel that way when they go off to work every single day. So it's really a blessing.
What is your favorite part of what you do? I know you love everything. I need you to come up with one thing that is your absolute favorite about your business.
Um, because our business involves a lot of hands-on coaching and mentoring, I think one of the things that gives me the most personal satisfaction is not only when I see people duplicate success, but when I hear them teaching others the things that we've taught them. That feels like you've truly passed something on.
Mm. That really is what legacy is all about, right?
Yeah, I guess it is passing something on. You're right.
I know for me, I'm trying to change the generational habits, the generational poverty mindset,
Mm,
the generational thoughts about college is the only way to go. Because for generations, our family's been a certain way ever since they came over from Europe, and I'm trying to change that.
mhm,
And once you feel like you've actually made that impact, and you see the next generation starting to parrot some of the things you're saying, you're like, yes, they get it. It's so exciting.
yeah, good for
Tell tell me about your why behind what you do.
you. Mm,
Um, I mean, let's just be real. If you were in a 9 to 5 right now in your current financial situation, you would probably retire so that you could go enjoy life. But
mm.
you're choosing to continue doing what you do best and enjoy life at the same time. There's got to be something driving you.
Yeah, and I think that at different stages in your life, you need to sit down and really have a self-examination about what your purpose is, what drives you, what your why is. I think your why changes often. I mean, when we first got started on this journey, we were finding ourselves behind the eight ball pretty much every month financially. I and even though I enjoyed real estate, I started looking for something to do on the side when the market was a little tough and things that were happening I couldn't predict. And so my why then was probably quite selfish, I guess, if you want to call it that, in that we were just looking to, pay the bills and get out of debt and just need to make some extra income. And so that why was very real to us at the time, but it
I've heard
wasn't.
a rumor that your wife had to park her car a couple blocks from your house so that the repo people couldn't find it.
True, true. We may have been a couple months behind on the car payment,
Hmm.
but the good news is we did pay everything off, and we didn't go bankrupt, and we made sure we didn't lose any vehicles, and we paid everything off. But so that was our initial why. Today, our why is much different because we've been fortunate enough to have met and teamed up with so many great people. We've been able to enhance a lot of lives, and as a result, our life has been enhanced as well. I think of Zig Ziglar, which your audience here on LinkedIn, they'll have to be at least my age to remember Zig, probably, but one of the original motivational speakers. And he always used to say, you can get anything you want out of life if you just help enough other people get what they want out of life. And it
Hmm.
really is true. And so today I feel like focusing on helping other people get to where they want to go is very, very rewarding. And it's a big why for me, because it really is true. And so today I feel like focusing on helping other people get to where they want to go is very, very rewarding. And it's a big why for me, because it really is true. And so today I feel like focusing on helping other people get to where they want to go is very, very rewarding. And it's a big why for me, because it's almost like Myrna says, it's like falling in love all over again every time you have that new person that you can sink yourself into, and that you can, teach them the principles that you've learned to help them on their financial journey. And we help them with a lot of different aspects of wellness, not just financial. But I think that why today of helping others is something that drives us, because we get so excited, about helping people accomplish their goals. And as a result, we still have goals. But it's not it's not necessarily the goal that drives us as much as helping other people, and then we know that we'll reach our.
Mark, let me ask you this. There are people that are watching this now or will be watching by replay that aren't quite sure what their why is yet or what their purpose is, but there's something inside of them that's making them feel like they should be doing something different or something more. How do you help somebody with that? How do you help somebody develop a clear vision for what their why is?
A lot of times it boils down to the things that are important to them. And I'll give you a great example. I was doing a little strategizing with a gal that we teamed up with a few years back. She was a mom with a couple of young kids, not school age. So they were full-time in daycare because she was working a full-time job. So when we teamed up with her, she was looking for a way to generate some extra income. And so I sat down, I was doing a little strategy with her, and I said, so, tell me what it is you want. And she said, well, I would like to earn $2,000 a month. And I said, okay, that's great. Well, why? And she said, well, because that's what I need. I need $2,000 a month. I said, that's a great goal. I'm just curious how you got to that amount. You could have said 500, you could have said 5,000, but for some reason you said 2,000. And so I'm just really curious what it is that's driving you to come to that conclusion that you need $2,000 a month. And she said, well, I earn about $4,000 a month at my full-time job, but of course I have to pay income tax on that. And then by the time I pay for my two kids for full-time daycare, because I'm working 9 to 5 every day, I sat down and I realized I'm barely bringing $2,000 a month home. So if I could find something to do that would ultimately allow me to just be at home with my kids and I don't have to send them to daycare, then I really only need $2,000 a month. And I said, okay, so there we go. Bingo. Your why is not to make $2,000 a month. Your why is the time you'll get back being at home with your kids instead of having to send them to daycare for 9 hours a day. And that's what's the driving force here. The money is just what we've determined is going to get you to your why. So the reason $2,000 is an important number is because that's going to help you reach that why. And that's why I said we always need to reinvent our why, because when you reach that goal, what's your next why? What's going to drive you to the next thing? So I think that's, when people sit down and they take a look at what their why is, I think a lot of times they may be defining it too much about finances versus what important thing is lacking in your life right now that maybe some extra finances would allow you to have or obtain that you don't have today. So
Mark, I had that experience 2 years ago. I
okay.
was with a business mentor and I was doing that 7 layers of why exercise where why, but why, but why, but why.
Yeah.
And mine started out, we're so broke. I just want to pay the bills and be able to invest some. That started out to be my why. And then by the time I got all the way to the end, I realized it was all about safety and security. I hadn't felt safe and secure in a long time. And it was safety and security I was looking for, not necessarily that amount of money. And it's really like when you realize what that why is, it sits and it feels so true. It feels so in alignment. And you're like, that's the burning why. And then you get to work and make it happen. Because if you're just working for that $2,000, it may not be worth, when you're tired, exhausted, you'd rather be doing something else, putting in the work. But when she's focusing on not being at work and being at home with her children, being willing to put in the extra effort to make that happen. So discovering that why, the real rooted reason behind the why, is critical. And then you're right, your why does change. Your why is often starts off, many of us start off with selfish whys. Not a darn thing wrong with that, as long as you don't stop when you have enough. As long as you keep paying it forward and giving and changing and evolving, learning how to be a better human on this planet, which tends to come when we get out of survival mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that exercise you went through, I encourage anybody to go through that. And a lot of people will boil their why down to very similar things. It's interesting when you get to the root of that. For a lot of people, with a lot of women, it is safety and security, just like you determined. With a lot of men, it's significance.
Mm-hmm.
And not in an ego-driven way, but significance meaning I want to matter, and I want to accomplish something, and I want to have an impact, and so those are things that you can't put a financial number on necessarily, but having the means to pursue what your real why is really important. And a lot of people are just trying to get through life and pay the bills today. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of people have given up even dreaming that something more is possible.
Mark, if there's somebody watching this right now who's thinking, I really need to do something, I've got to do something, where would you recommend they start? If they're not quite sure what they should be doing, where should they start?
I think they should start by asking themselves, what is it that I would leap out of bed to do every single day? And for some people that might be a career change. For others, that might be finding the perfect side hustle that could help them make some extra income, but they'd be really passionate about it. I mean, and I don't know, everybody's different, but if it was something that was also fulfilling because you got to help other people, that would be cool. I mean, people could start by having a conversation with you, Laurel. I mean, you've been on a journey, and now, we recently teamed up, and it's something that you could share your story with others, and maybe they'll see themselves in it too, because I think everybody's at a different point in their journey. There'll be people watching this that are young career people that are going through the ranks. They just want to make sure they're staying professionally connected with people, and LinkedIn does a great job of that. There's other people that might be at a point in their life where they're looking for a new challenge. I call those people successfully discontent. So maybe they've already had tremendous success in careers, or maybe at career, and now it's kind of feeling like they're not fulfilled anymore. They're looking for that next chapter. There's a lot of people today that have been displaced. Middle management over the last couple of decades has really been displaced, and technology is displacing a lot of that as well. And so there's a lot of people that might be in that 40 to 55 age group that are way too young to retire, and they don't have the finances to do it, but they don't feel like starting over on a new career where they're going to be working 70 hours a week again like they did when they got out of college. So everybody's at a different point in their journey, but start by saying to yourself, what would I feel like I wanted to jump out of bed and do every single day? And for me, helping people in what I think is the biggest need in their life, which is to get financial security, helping people with that gets me excited. And, it feels like you can't wait to meet that next person who's going to, follow what you teach them. And that's fulfilling.
I always recommend to people in this situation as well, especially if they're still struggling to figure out what it is that would get them out of bed, just start talking to people, whether
Yeah.
it's online, in person, on the phone, messaging. Just start reaching out and having conversations, because I never hide my faith. When I'm on LinkedIn, everybody knows I'm a big believer, and God is guiding me and guiding my business. And I believe that when you just start opening your mind and talking to people, that God ends up putting the perfect path right in your lap, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to do all the work to go searching for it. You just be open and start talking to people. It's that difference between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, right?
Yeah.
Just start
Well,
talking.
that's funny because it reminds me of that old story about the two people sitting next to each other in church, and one's quietly praying that God would send them someone to that they could team up with, and on the other one's praying that they would find an opportunity to get out of debt. So
They weren't talking to each other.
they're looking for each other, and God put them right next to each other. But we still have to take it to the next step and have the conversation with people. Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
that's right. Just start talking with people. Connections, networking your network. I mean, I always say to people, if you started a bakery, you wouldn't expect all your friends and family are going to come be your head donut baker, right? But if you're looking for a good baker, you might ask all your friends and family who they know, because one of them might just happen to know the perfect person that's looking for a new job and has all the experience you're looking for, right? So that's why you can't be afraid to talk to people. You can't make it sound like you're trying to sell everybody on what you're doing and you think everybody should drop what they're doing. But you meet the perfect people through people you already know. I say the way to get to the top is TOPP, through other people's people. And so, yeah, just keep those conversations going, those connections happening.
As we wrap up here, do you have any last words of wisdom or inspiration to share?
Oh, I'm a wise guy, all right, Laurel, I'm sure. Well, I think for those that are listening in because they're searching for that next thing that they want to sink their teeth into, I would say have a conversation with you, and you can share what you found. It might not be for them necessarily, but the process that you've gone through to get to where you are is probably a process everybody would find helpful in finding, getting fulfillment for what they're looking for. And even if that's just adding some new skills to the job or the business that they're already happy in. We should always be looking to grow, right? And a lot of times we grow when we meet other people that have already gone through where we're going. I mean, that's why I think it's best to find a mentor. People, a lot of times these days, people talk about having a business coach or a life coach, and that's totally fine. But I think a mentor is maybe almost more important. And the difference between a coach and a mentor to me is a coach is someone that you could hire to hold you accountable. But a mentor is someone that's going to take a vested interest in helping you succeed, probably because they are where you want to be and they see something in you and they just want to help you. You can't really hire a mentor. Someone chooses to mentor you because they see a spark and you want to be where they are. And typically, if they're in the same industry, that's the best type of mentor, because then they're going to walk you through every little aspect and help you get there, not because you're paying them. You can pay a coach, but a mentor has a vested interest in your success. So maybe that would be my last words of wisdom: is if you're out there and you're honest with yourself, you might say, I need to find the right mentor to get to that next growth step for me.
Well, Mark, let me from the bottom of my heart say thank you for being such a great mentor to me. You and Myrna have changed everything about me, our lives, our business, our hope for the future. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for being who you are and for being willing to be open to so many people and helping people along the way.
Oh, you bet. It's fun every day, Laurel. We're loving working with you, that's for sure. And what a great thing you're doing for people here. Just anybody that can learn with you as you're learning and as you're growing, and people are following you and applying that to whatever they need to apply it to. So good for you. And thanks for thinking of me and having me here today.
Well, thank you for being here. And for everybody else, actually, we are going to do Legacy Leaders Live again next week. Very exciting guest that I've known for about 4 years. She's a dynamic woman. So I know I said it's bi-weekly. However, we're making a little exception because, we're all at-home entrepreneurs and we can work around people's schedules. That's awesome. So anyways, I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. And again, Mark, thank you so very much.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.